So what we're doing on this warm-up is we're just labeling the size. We're just labeling the hypotenuse, long leg, and short leg. So on the first one, which one is the hypotenuse? Is the 12. Right, remember, one way to remember that is this little arrow, or the right angle box is like an arrow that points towards the hypotenuse. So that's one way to remind you. Okay, so that's the hypotenuse. Now which of those is going to be the long leg? Is M. I mean, it's just looking at it and seeing which one's longer. Okay, so this one's going to be the short leg. All right, second one, which one's the H? 72. Which one's the long leg? A, and then obviously this is the short leg. Okay, on number 3, which one's the hypotenuse? X. The short leg? The long leg? Y. Okay, third one, which one's the H? X. Which one's the long leg? And then this is the short leg. Okay. All right, guys. Need y'all to be quiet, please. Next one, which one's the H? 23. Which one's the short leg? V. And then the long leg is U. Okay, then the H on the last one is the M. Remember, this right angle mark is like an arrow pointing towards the H. And this is the short leg, and this is the long leg. Okay, so on the of your warm-up, you got this, where we're going to talk about these rules that we looked at on Friday. So on Friday, we measured to find the relationship between the short leg and the hypotenuse, and then we used Pythagorean theorem to find the relationship on the long leg. Okay, so here we have the short leg, long leg, and hypotenuse. So if you take the if you take the short leg and you multiply that by 2, that's going to give you the hypotenuse. So if you know the short leg and you want to find the hypotenuse, you just take that short leg times 2, and you've got the hypotenuse. Okay? If you take the short leg times the square root of 3, that's going to give you the long leg. So really that's the main part of the rules right there, is that idea. But what we're going to do over here is we're going to write down the reverse of that so you can see that easily. Okay, so if you have the hypotenuse, if you divide that by 2, that's going to give you the short leg. And then if you have the long leg and divide that by the square root of 3, that's going to give you the short leg. So all we're going to do today basically is just apply those rules right there. That's all we're going to do, just apply those rules. Some more of that. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go back over to these rules. And I'm going to, okay, so again, let me go back over here. There's only one of these that starts with the long leg. It's this one right here. Okay? And so if we want to go from the long leg to the short leg, what are we going to do? Divide by the square root of 3. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the long leg and divide that by the square root of 3. Okay, I'm going to go back over here, and I'm looking for the hypotenuse. So the way I'm going to get that is with the short leg times 2. So if I take the short leg, which is what we just got, times 2, that's going to give me the length of the hypotenuse. So the short leg was 8.66. So I'm going to go 8.66 times 2, and that's going to tell me the hypotenuse. And to get from the long leg to the short leg, I divide by the square root of 3. So I'm going to do 12 divided by square root of 3. Okay, right here. Yep, so if I want to know the hypotenuse, I just do the short leg times 2. Okay. So this is the only one of the rules that starts off with the hypotenuse. So I'm going to use the hypotenuse to find the short leg. So to do that, I'm going to do the hypotenuse divided by 2. So what? Good. Short leg to long leg, I multiply by the square root of 3. Back over here and think about my rules. Bless you. So the short leg times 2 gives me the hypotenuse. So the short leg is 21. So what's 21 times 2? Short leg to the long leg, I multiply by the square root of 3. So going back over to my rules again here. If I know the long leg, this is the only one that starts the long leg first. So if I do long leg divided by the square root of 3, that's going to give me the short leg. Over to these rules right here. Okay, good. So this one, this is the only one that has the h to start with. So we do hypotenuse divided by 2 is going to tell me the short leg. Okay, so the hypotenuse is 15, so I'm going to do 15 divided by 2. Okay, good. 15 divided by 2 is 7.5, so the short leg is 7.5. Leg back over here. From the short leg to the long leg, just multiply by the square root of 3. So how long is the short leg? 7.5. So I'm going to do 7.5 times the square root of 3 to tell me the long leg. So 7.5 times square root of 3 is what? Okay, so let's flip over here. And let's look at the first one. Okay, so on this first one, you have 15 x and y on this first one. Which one of those is the h? Is the y. Which one's the long leg? 15. The 15, and then the short leg is the x. Now, on this one, the one that we know that we're starting off with is the long leg. They've given us the long leg is 15. Now I want to find the short leg and hypotenuse from that. So over here, I'm starting with the long leg. So the long leg is 15, so I'm going to go 15 divided by the square root of 3. Okay, so just type that in your calculator just like that. 15 divided by the square root of 3. And it gives you what? 8.66. Okay, now the other thing I want to find is the hypotenuse here. So 8.66 times 2, what does that give me? 17.32. It gives 17.32. Okay, next one. Which one is the H? The Y. Again, remember, you got this right angle mark. It's like an arrow pointing towards the H. Okay? Which one's the long leg? It's the 12. Which one's the short leg? X. So on this one, what I know is the long leg. It's 12. So it's basically the exact same thing as the last one. I know the long leg. So 12 divided by the square root of 3. What does that give you? 6 point what? 92. Does it round to 3? Yes. 6.93. Okay, and now I want the hypotenuse. So how am I going to find the hypotenuse from the short leg? So it's 6.93 times 2, which is what? 13.86. Okay, next one. Which one is the H? 10. Which one's the long leg? And then the short leg is X. So on this one now I'm starting with the hypotenuse. Is 10 divided by 2. 5. Now from the short leg to the long leg. How am I going to get from the short leg to the long leg? So I'm going to do 5 times the square root of 3. What does it give you? .66. Okay, then on 3C there, which one's the H? X. Which one is the short leg? And then the long leg is Y. So on this one, we're starting with the short leg. It's 42. Yep. So this is 42. And now to find the long leg from the short leg, so 21 times the square root of 3. What does that give you? 36.37. Okay, next one, which one's the H? The Y. Which one's the long leg? 8 square root of 3, yep, and then the short leg is X. So on this one, I'm starting with the long leg. So I'm going to go 8 square root of 3 divided by the square root of 3. So what does that turn into?
8.
Yeah, it turns just into 8, right? The square root of 3 is to cancel the 1. Just leaves 8. 8 times 1 is 8. Now from the short leg to the hypotenuse, what do? Just multiply it by 2. Just double it. So it's 8 times 2. 16. Okay, number 19, which one's the H? Y, which one's the long leg? 10 square root of 3, and then this is a short leg. So this is the exact same thing as that last one, so we're just going to divide by the square root of 3. So what's 10 square root of 3 divided by square root of 3? It's 10. And then to get up here, we just multiply it by 2. 10 times 2 is 20. Okay, I want you to try number 20 real quick. Okay, so which one is the H on number 20? 15. Which one is the long leg? X, and then the short leg is the Y. Okay, so on this one, when I know the hypotenuse of, so we did 15 divided by 2. Now, from the short leg to the yep. $12.99. All right, try number 21 real quick. Okay, so which one's H on 21? 17, long leg, short leg. So to get from the hypotenuse to the short leg, what do we do? Divide by 2, what does that give you? 8.5, and then from there up to there, we multiply by the square root of 3. 8.5 times the square root of 3. 14.72. Okay, number 22, H, S, L, L, L. Okay, short leg times 2. 24 times 2 gives us the hypotenuse is 48. And then short leg times square root of 3 gives us the long leg. What's 24 times square root of 3? Say it again. 41.57. And then on this last one, we have H, L, L, S, L. So this time I know the long leg. So I'm going to divide by the square root of 3. 14 divided by the square root of 3 is what? 8.08. And then short leg, 8.08 times 2 gives me the hypotenuse, which is 16.16.